Not all those who wander are lost. J.R. Tolkien. Welcome to Aegis Travel Adventures. We are Ken
and Gisele. We have been to over 100 countries and are still looking to see what is around the next corner. We love wine,
travel, and adventure. Listen to our podcast where we share the fun of the magical places, people, and cultures that have touched our lives.
Aegis,
Aegis,
travel,
travel,
adventures.
This is Ageless Travel Adventures. This is Ken.
Hi, this is Gisele.
This is podcast number 13. Today we want to change it up a little bit and talk to you about our cruise consultant and give you some tips on why you should use one, the benefits that we found. And we're going to introduce her. Her name is Jan, and she's from Bellaluna Cruises. And
Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
We are so thrilled that you are here. You have the dubious pleasure of being our first guest commentary.
Yay!
So we're thrilled to have you here. And we have been using Janine for several years, and we have found her services and her advice and her tips have been just wonderful on our cruises. So we wanted to take this opportunity to ask Janine some questions about why you may think you using a cruise consultant, and you may think, well,
Why it's important.
I can find all this stuff on the internet and things like that, and that's absolutely true. But having somebody on what they call boots on the ground,
Yep.
is invaluable. So we'll start with Janine. How long have you been in the business, Janine?
I've been in the business 8 years.
And you were with a company for
5.
and then you went out on your own the last 3 and have your own company now.
I do.
And
That's
the name
wonderful.
of your company is?
Bellaluna Vacations.
So, so Bellaluna Vacations, what do you primarily deal with?
I'm probably 95% cruises, which is my expertise, but I'm also branching out into all-inclusives, tours, and just pretty well, if you ask for it, I can find out, and put it together for you.
Well, we have been using Janine for quite a while. Disclosure, she is Ken's sister, but we have found that her services have been just amazing in our experiences. But we did recently use her on our trip to Africa, and she came up with some great ideas, some great resources that we would have never done without her. So she does a little bit of everything.
And she just came back from a cruise herself on the Royal Caribbean Wonder of the Seas.
That is correct.
That's the new one?
That is the
And
newest
it's
one.
Like 6,500 people?
I think we had 6,700 on this
Yeah,
trip,
I mean,
approximately.
It's a floating city, essentially.
Yeah. So what did you
And
love?
Tell
What
us
did
a
you
little
hate?
bit about it.
Sure. I did not feel like there was that many people on the ship. They have it orchestrated enough to have separate areas for different people. So say for the kids, they'll do the rock climbing, they'll do surf simulating. In the day, they can roller skate and do things like that. They have the kids club. And then for, say, us adults that really want to be in a more private area, we would go up to the solarium, which is wonderful. And they have hot tubs and pools. They have a little restaurant.
Kids
Is that
allowed
it?
there?
16 and up.
16 and up.
Is the solarium included, or is that a special price?
That is not any extra money, and it was very nice. It's kind of partially covered, but yet you can get some sun in there. Met some wonderful people, and it was just really chillaxed. I guess that's a good word to say it.
Okay. Well,
And,
that's a place that we have not thought about that. So when we have found using Janine, for me, what I really appreciate her is one, she does not delete my endless texts and questions, so that's always a plus. but also regarding for me on a cruise ship, where we're going to be, what the cruise is, and the ship is. So Janine, tell me, how do you find your guests the best place to be on the cruise ship?
Well, technically, the midship is the best, but I also try to ask questions. So some people have mobility issues and they like to be closer to an elevator. Some people want to be not as close to an elevator and away from, the noise. So I just kind of look at the floor plans and figure out what's best for the guest. Some people like the aft-facing balconies, which are wonderful to see the little flow of the water in the back.
The dolphins, the
Anything
elephants, the
Dolphins,
whales. Okay, all right, okay.
It's very serene back there. And some people, believe it or not, really love the front-facing ships, like rooms. So I have several clients that want the ships rooms that are facing totally forward, and it's an ocean view, and they love it.
And you've been on many cruises, so you've had a chance to experience this firsthand. You booked our Viking cruise that we've been doing podcasts about for us, and we went from Buenos Aires to Barcelona, and you said, you want me to pick you a good cab? And we said, sure. We didn't look at it really. We let you pick it.
We trust you.
And it was a couple
Perfect.
doors. It was great. It was a couple doors in from the elevator, so we had easy access. It was midship. There was virtually no noise. On Viking, everything is a balcony or above.
On the ocean liners.
On the ocean liners, yeah. And it was a great choice. So I think you know what you're doing with that, and that's a big advantage. If you call up Viking, you could book the cruise yourself, but then you have to pick your berth. And if you have no experience, you might make a mistake. Also, my experience has been you don't want to be too near kitchens, nightclubs, things like that.
Absolutely.
So Janine takes a look at the ship, the layout, and gets you away
The
from
customer she's dealing with.
the noise and and so on. But she does. She asks questions about what you like and don't like, and I think mobility is part of it. And the front and the back, you tend to get a little more rock and roll, and you got a little more stability in the midship. So, I think that's a big advantage. The other thing is she's the intermediary. You book through her, and if there's any questions or issues, it seems like we always have some. Like Gisele was saying, we give her a list, and she takes care of them. She gets on the phone and takes care of it. Right now, cruises are a hot commodity after COVID, and we were looking at one recently, and just kind of look and see type thing. So we did a call, and we were on hold. After 10 minutes, I hung up. I'm not going to deal with that. That's what she does for you. So being the intermediary, though, anything that comes up, she takes care of.
Well, I pride myself on personalized service. I am definitely, I don't advertise. I am all referrals and past guests that use me, and I'm very lucky on that. But because I take the time with them and I'm available, I can help them with any situation. And like I said, once they book with me, they have the confidence in me to pick the correct room, the right trip, maybe a hotel afterwards that we research. And right now I'm doing a tour for Ireland with some friends, and this is going to be really great. They want to do kind of like a drink around Ireland tour.
A hybrid tour, though.
Yeah.
Where they do some driving in themselves.
Yeah. And they have specific places they want to go. So I'm working with CIE Tours, and she's been wonderful because we keep changing the itinerary because the lady wants different things, and we have it pretty well narrowed down to what they want. So it's really exciting for me to live behind the scenes, because I kind of live vicariously through the trips of my guests, and can't wait to see their pictures, and they can't wait to share their pictures with me and their thanks for what I do for them. And a lot of times, say for instance, some of the cruise lines will have a group rate that I can get you into, and that saves money. Or we might have a special with my parent company that gives you onboard credit or free gratuities, and it keeps people coming back, and it lets them know that we care about them. So I'm really excited about what I do, and I pride myself in having my own business now.
Well, Janine does a great job, and I'm not just talking because she's my sister-in-law, but she does a great job in ascertaining the needs of her clients. We've referred several of our friends that have been using her, and everybody has a travel what works for them. What works for Ken and I may not work for other people. So one thing that I've really admired about Janine is that her ability to say, you know what, you're not Gisele and Ken, you're other people that you travel. And so I know that this is what works for you or this doesn't work for you. So I'm going to try to make your trip as smooth as possible. And in the event that, stuff happens, and I would love to say when you're traveling that something never happens, but we all know stuff happens. So what I really appreciate about Janine, and in the events that we've had that happen, she's as I said earlier, our boots on the ground. You can call her, text her, and she will respond as quickly as she possibly can to try to resolve this. And sometimes it's an easy fix, and sometimes it's not. So Janine, in your experiences, has there been anything that you've give me your worst scenario, or things that you thought was the funniest thing that's happened that you've had to deal with people, or
I mean, just sometimes there's questions that people ask and it'll make me laugh a little bit, but then I realize, there's always an answer to every question. But
Funny to you, but maybe serious for them. But
yeah. I mean,
especially people that have not cruised before.
yeah.
if it's her first rodeo, one of the things that I think she does really well is help people pick an itinerary, because your first cruise, I mean, it's the whole world's out there, but to narrow it down to not just price, but the things you want to see, the type of ship you want to be on. Is it smaller? Is it bigger? No kids, some kids. I mean, there's a lot of things involved in picking a cruise, and so that's where she shines. And Gisele and I, we kind of know where we want to go next, having been to a lot of countries and done a lot of cruising. But even with that, Janine came to us last year, several months ago, with a group tour going to Iceland and Greenland, and that's places
Norwegian
we wanted
Cruise
to go.
Line.
And so we
And
signed
Norway.
up, and our sister signed up with her husband. So, and we got some really good group rates, and so she keeps a lookout for that stuff, and she have a tip sheet, so to speak, of her clients on places they want to go and deals they want to get, and they come up. And it's not always last minute things. Sometimes their best rates are booking early, but she keeps that.
I would say the majority time I recommend people book 6 months to a year out for the best rates, and also for the best cabin positions, because if you wait too long, sometimes you're not going to get what you want, or maybe they sell out with certain itineraries. So recently I had a client that I've been trying to get for a long time, which happens to be a relative by marriage, and she said, I'm going to try you. She's since booked 2 cruises with me after the one that she initially booked, and they're going to D-Day, I think it's the 80th anniversary with Viking, Normandy. Very excited about that. We had to wait till it came open because they originally had closed it because they had so many people, but they
Viking is
it.
now. I just got an email about that. Yeah,
And they are so excited, and they referred some friends to me for that. So I'm living vicariously through their trips. And Ken and Gisele, I love to see their pictures and hear about their trips, and it actually helps me learn a little bit sometimes because I might have not been to that place before.
Another advantage that we've offered through Ageless Travel Adventures is if one of Janine's customers, or any of Janine's customers, are going to a port on a cruise or a destination, and they want some information because we've been to so many places, they are welcome to contact us through Instagram or Ageless Travel
or through
Adventures,
Janine, or through
or
her.
through Janine, and ask questions about ports on their trip, off-the-ship excursions, dining, vineyards, wine, any of the above, and or restaurants in cities. We have some fabulous restaurants we've recommended to people, and one comes to mind. We've recommended it to 3 or 4 people in Florence, Italy, and everyone comes back and goes, Man, that's a hidden gem. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was the best gnocchi and I'll put it on our podcast. It's the best gnocchi we've ever had in our whole life. In fact, Ken and I found it on a whim on a rainy day in Florence, and we went there, and then I think the restaurant thought we were stalking them.
We went back so many
because
times.
we were there. We only went day before they opened, and I'm like, can I please have some gnocchi? It was amazing.
But
so
anyway,
we'll send you the link.
Vineyards, we just, on our last podcast, talked about hibiscus and the wine tour we did and how much fun it was. So, yeah, we have a lot of information, and some of it's money saving, some of it's how to get around, lots of things, ferries, airplanes, locations. We're willing to share that with any of her customers.
So Janine, my question to you would be, if somebody who's never booked a cruise before or never done out of their comfort zone, what it would be like maybe one or two questions that you think that they should answer or they should understand before they start booking their ship?
Well,
their
normally
cruise?
I ask people, how many people are you traveling with? Did you want an all adult or did you want to go with children?
Please no.
Grandchildren.
What is your
Maybe.
budget? Because that makes a difference. Most of the time, I know if it's a couple, that I'm going to probably put them on maybe Celebrity, Norwegian, Virgin Voyages, and also the Viking Ocean is beautiful for them. Now, if there's a family, I'm going to look at Royal Caribbean. I'm going to look at Norwegian also has, for kids, but pretty well Royal Caribbean is the kid thing.
Young
Even
people,
more than
like-
Disney?
Yeah, Disney is wonderful, but you have to be in that budget. So I have clients that only book Disney, and they're okay with that. But we want to see, where do you really want to go? Can I get you there for what your budget is? And then we work from there.
Well, I think that's the beauty of using somebody who knows her business and knows her stuff, what she's talking about, because when you're looking on the internet, I mean, everybody's got the better deal and everybody you read on the internet. And so to have somebody who understands the business and understands the industry is great. And there's been a few times that we've had some issues that have come up. Nothing serious, but our flights canceled, the cruise at the line all of a sudden changes our room and things like that. But to have somebody who I can immediately call and say, hey Janine, you know what, the cruise line has just changed my itinerary. What do I do? And she's like, you know what, give me a few, I'm going to get back with you. And then she either resolves the issue or comes back and says, this is what's going on and this is what's happening. So to have an advocate, which is a great resource, is something we strongly suggest. So, Janine, any other tips you want to add or something you want to suggest to somebody, or the funniest thing that somebody's asked you on the questions they've asked?
To be honest with you, there's been many funny things, but as I'm getting older, I don't remember them all. But I will tell you, overall, a travel agent can provide a seamless and stress-free travel planning experience, saving you time, that's very important these days, and money a lot of times, and ensuring that your trip meets your expectations.
Oh, that's great.
And we do appreciate, and again, I go back to her ease of accessibility, and she's very responsive. And again, I'm not saying this because she's my sister-in-law, but again, we have the link to her business on our podcast. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything you might want to ask her, she'll be more than happy to answer, and as well as Ken and I. So
that's our podcast for today.
and we appreciate you guys listening. Again, questions, comments, commentaries, we'd love to hear from you.
This is Ken.
This is Gisele.
And it's Janine.
Thanks guys
a
for
lot.
joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aegis,
Eagles.
travel,
Travel.
adventures.
Adventures.